How long do you think it's going to take to actually rebuild all of that area in LA? Because I know specifically with the Thomas Fire in Ventura, our house took about 3.5 years to build.
Yep.
And a lot of the insurance companies, the kind of standard rate is that they'll float you for temporary rent
Not
for
that long.
2 years.
Yeah, exactly.
2 years is how much they'll do.
Yeah.
And very, very few people, especially if 10,000 plus structures are burned down, every contractor is going to be spread thin.
Yep.
They're going to be like trying to work multiple sites at one time. You have all these subcontractors that are going to be busy. All of the permitting process, like that's going to be super, super busy.
Yeah.
I have no idea how this is going to get resolved. How long do you think it's going to take for it to get back to normal?
2030.
2030.
Yeah, because LA is notoriously slow with everything. And the magnitude of this damage is so much that I think probably what'll happen is they're going to try to rewrite building codes first before they get anyone through to try, hopefully, to mitigate the issues of these the way hydrants are built, the way reservoirs are built, and hopefully they figure all of that out correctly this time. I mean, I think to what you're saying, the market demand is going to be insane. Not yet for contractors, but in 2 years, it's going to be good business to be a contractor there.
And on top of that, we noticed during our rebuild process that it probably cost between 35 and 50% more during the fire rebuild because in the Thomas Fire, it was like 1,000 structures, I think, burnt down. But in this, so far, it's 10,000, 10 times the amount. And I just think like overwhelmingly, people are going to really struggle unless if Biden says, or I guess eventually Trump, helps and bails them out. Because there have been, I mean, he did say that he was going to help and float for like 6 months.
It's not going to do anything. Yeah, it's, I mean, I wish the Biden administration was already doing more. It seems like Trump is talking more about what's going on in California than Biden is. I mean, I think a lot of people, I'm not trying to sound anti-Biden. I know it already does sound that way. Or I definitely anti-Newsom. I will say that, definitely anti-Newsom. That's why I ran against him for governor. But yeah, the government can help, but unfortunately, I don't know that government will be able to muster it just because trying to take this, what's going to be a 5 or 6 year process and try to streamline it, align it, it's going to get tied up in all of the red tape that people like Gavin Newsom say they can solve, and they just never do. So it's unfortunate, but I want to talk about another byproduct that you just brought up. It's not just contracting prices that are going to go up, it's rents that are going to skyrocket. For all the normal people in LA, now there are fewer apartments available. There are fewer single-family homes available. So anybody who wants to renew their lease now or move into LA because they got a job, I wouldn't be surprised if you see rents go up 20% in all of LA. Heck, that could hurt our international or our nationwide inflation numbers.
It was interesting. Jason Oppenheim shared a story on Instagram that a client showed up to a rental listing, just an average listing, nothing special. There are 20 people outside. 20 people were outside.
Yeah. Well, people
every
lost
one
their
of his listings, he has a listing for $13,350, $13,500 a month.
Wow.
Got offered $20,000 a month for it. 6 months up front. The owner wants more.
There you go. Yeah. So, and that's going to, well, every single person who's like, okay, my house is either burning down, going to burn down, or burned down over the last 2 or 3 days, the first thing they do is, okay, where am I going to live? I'm not going to live out of a hotel in a suitcase. So Zillow.com, look at the rentals or Redfin or whatever, right? Yeah. And exactly what you're saying is what you would expect. Now, then this is where things get interesting because then the political idea is, okay, well, all those people are price gouging. They're being greedy. And then the flip side of the argument is, well, there's a shortage of available housing. What does that go back to? Oh, well, it goes back again to politics. We just don't build enough. So yeah, prices will skyrocket.
Now this is interesting. The Senate Budget Committee recently said this is predicted to cascade into plunging property values in communities where insurance becomes impossible to find or prohibitively expensive. A collapse in property values with the potential to trigger a full-scale financial crisis similar to what happened in 2008. What are your thoughts on this? It might be a bit extreme.
So which Republican wrote that? Yeah, that's that I would say that is far-fetched, mostly because at some point when insurance becomes impossible to get, at some point the political leash, if you will loosen, and people will enter the insurance market. It's always how it works. The price goes up high enough for insurance that insurability becomes like an option again. I mean, look, you could literally start an insurance company today. Hey, we'll do all the insurance in LA. Whoever's having trouble getting insurance, we'll do an insurance company. And you just securitize the risk by selling it on the market. Hey, who wants 10% yield on a bond for this high-risk insurance company? People will buy it as part of their portfolio.
Yeah, they're calling them catastrophe bonds. Have you seen these?
There you go.
Yeah, it's already a thing now.
There you go. Exactly. So so people will always be able to diversify away their risk. So I don't see property values plunging. In fact, and this is
in areas that you can't get insurance, or insurance is so expensive.
Yeah. Some of those areas, like the coastline of Malibu, those are, $10, $20 million homes, sometimes even more. Of course, insurance is going to be prohibitively expensive there because they're either going to fall into the ocean or they're going to burn down again, potentially, right? But people want to live there. So somebody will pay those exorbitant fees. And then again, people will risk it away.
Well, this also says many residents of the Pacific Palisades are reporting that they had no property insurance because insurance companies no longer provide coverage for real estate in the highly priced and high-risk areas.
Right, yeah, because even the California Fair Plan has a limit of how much they'll cover. I think it's $3 million per home is the limit that they'll cover. Some of those homes are $8 million homes. So, yeah, that's possible that people have just entirely dropped their coverage. State Farm announced their non-renewals in March.
Correct.
Which means March is 10 months ago, which means 10 out of 12, what is that? Over 80%, 85% of insurance policies have probably lapsed, assuming, an equal amount of dispersion there, that not everybody's renewing in lumps. So in English, most of those policies, the State Farm ones, have lapsed. If they couldn't find other coverage, they've gone to the California Fair or have been uninsured.
Yeah.
They're screwed.
In this case,
it's terrible.
It was 69.4% of the Pacific Palisades
69?
got dropped.
Yeah.
0.4.
Yeah.
It would be funny.
State Farm.
69.420.
Yeah, exactly. That's State Farm.
Was dropped.
Yeah. So exactly. So their choices are you either go to a different carrier, if you can get it, pay the higher fees, or you go to California Fair, or you self-insure. Self-insure, obviously, would be catastrophic at this point.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Allstate, too, announced plans. This was in November of 2022. Paused new homeowners, condo, and commercial insurance policies in California to protect current customers.
Yeah.
What about tens of millions of dollars homes that are not insured at all? Like I saw there was like a $30 million home listed on Zillow that burnt down in the fire. All of these crazy expensive homes that are not insured at all. What is there?
They're probably insured. At that level.
At that level, you have to. You think?
It's not like you have to. It's like when you have a $30 million home, your net worth is probably
you're self-insuring?
$250 million plus. They're having insurance. There's no way those people wouldn't have insurance. My understanding is if you're that high net worth, you could basically have anything underwritten because insurance companies can cater to what you want.
Yeah.
Like very customizable policies because you're spending so much money. They might spend $200,000 a year on insurance. An insurance company will make that happen.
Well, I'll give an example just to make an insurance comparison. So, I own a plane. The cost to insure my plane is $30,000 a year. With 2 professional phenom-rated pilots. I am a brand new pilot. I've got 100 hours. I've landed a plane, 300 times, a little single-engine Cirrus with a parachute. In order to be the second pilot with a professional pilot who's flown for 2,000 hours or whatever, my insurance policy goes from $30,000 a year and 10 companies want to offer us insurance to 1 company wants to offer us insurance, and that'll be $130,000 a year.
Wow.
Yeah. So, like you say, and like I was, you can insure anything. How much you want to pay? So, yeah.